Join us for a review of the Smart EQ fortwo facelift. Let's go. In the front you can see it does look sportier than before. What have they changed? First of all, the logo is gone. It's just a smart lettering here now. Then new optional LED lamps. There's not only the LED daytime running light, but also the real headlamp unit can be purchased now with full LED. It's indeed a little bit better to be a little bit more visible also inside the city. Tiny 2 meters 69 or 106 inches is the Smart fortwo, and it's probably the only car where a length description begins with 2 meters something. Well, even 3 meters something would be short, you know, but that's of course even shorter. Here you can see the 1.5 box design of this smart generation, and side profile is relatively untouched. There are some new wheels, 15 or 16 inch. Those ones are the bigger 16 inch, and you can see here with the new design that looks somehow electric, so to say. Then the EQ badge, EQ then the Mercedes electric brand, so to say. This one here is also the convertible with the fabric top. There are also different colors available for this fabric top, and of course you can still get the coupe. So, but you know, I always say take the convertible, enjoy open top driving. In the rear, the convertible and the closed version are of course a little bit different because you have the fabric split opening here where you would have all the way glass in the coupe. What's new now here with the facelift are those rear lamps. They are now in this LED style and look more modern, pretty fancy. So yeah, why not? What do you think? So smart globally electric only now because Daimler wants to bring down their fleet CO2 emission levels, and it does make sense to sell all the small, let's say cheaper vehicles all electric, so you can at the same time sell the bigger cars still and the AMGs and so on, and still, you know, keep a decent CO2 fleet consumption. Yeah, that's the strategy. But the EQ, the electric model, also has a lot of advantages, especially going to talk about that during the driving part. The battery still is at 17.6 kilowatt hours. That's the gross value, so the net value of course a little bit lower, and 110 kilometers or 70 miles range, that is like, you know, guaranteed in different conditions as well. You can also score some more decent figures if you have, like, you know, temperatures like those and maybe not using the AC and not so much electric consumers and so on, and you drive reasonably. So, and now about the charging. It's right down here at the right side of the vehicle. Right here, there's an AC charger. Either comes then with 4.6 kilowatt or optional the 22 kilowatt charger. That is of course recommended if you're using charging stations and so on. 80 horsepower by the way, and about 12 seconds to 1 kilometer or 62 miles an hour. But of course it's more useful in the city with lower speed. And the battery, by the way, 8 years warranty or 100,000 kilometers. That means 62,000 miles of warranty for that battery. That is placed in the bottom of the car. That's, you know, towards the rear there. And it's actually a quite agile vehicle, especially, you know, of this very, very short wheelbase, this typical go-kart feeling. Luggage surprise for you. So, here we go, and you can stack it up like this if you play a little bit Tetris, and you could even put more things on top here. Well, that's possible. And let's remove that so I can show you, because one of the things that a true smart owner does first, when you have the convertible, you have this So 2 backpacks, 2 trolleys, that works. You have this here, you know. This is like the like a cover, and usually this one is placed in this middle part right there. Then you can like use this cover there, but I just pushed it all over the place. And usually this one goes first and it stays in your, basement like for your whole life, because then you're just more flexible. So what about the convertible? Step 1 would be just this, and the good thing is you can also close or open it at higher speeds and you're just a little bit more flexible. Is it a rear convertible? Well, kind of yes and no at the same time. This is here the second step. You can only do that if you haven't stacked up all the luggage there in the rear. The good thing is when you have it in this step 2, it is better because you have less wind noise and also less wind turbulences in the interior. So I would recommend driving this one down all the time. Again, if you have stacked up all the luggage in the rear, then you would need, to be in the first step right there. And you also need to be in this, in this step here when we remove the sidebars here completely. Subscribers know why we use this one here, because there's the cargo harbor just behind us and it's actually pretty loud here, but you won't hear that due to this. Therefore, I also tried one-handed here now with the sidebar, and you see, that even works. Jonas has already demounted the other one, actually with holding the camera in the one hand and then with the other hand the sidebar there. And yeah, and then you have a real convertible. And as a comparison, a short look at the Coupe. This one here in the Edition 1 special launch model, also with Brabus wheels here in matte gray, so even sportier in the look. You can see it's not too much of a difference, but of course there are no removable bars. And then this pillar here is thicker in the Coupe, it appears thicker. The Tridion cell is more or less the same than in the lower area. Of course, the convertible a little bit stronger in the lower area because the top part is not going all the way through. And then if we come around at the rear, it is also a little bit different in the styling because we have the glass that goes all the way through here. So yes, the Coupe looks somehow cooler, a little bit cleaner in the design. Yet again, you cannot open the roof. Just some slight changes for the interior. So door all the same, nice fabric choices right there. Then some, some storage right here with a net. And it's also the same steering wheel. Left side you control the screen and also the standard cruise control, but non-adaptive. And round vents. This is an extra meter you can get here for the battery status and also for the power. And this one at the moment animal skin seating, but there are also nice fabric choices as base one available. There's a seat heating here, and in the electric version here is automatically connected to the heated steering wheel because it's more efficient to heat up the body directly than just do it via air. So maybe you don't need so much air heating then. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Then there are also some more decor elements. For example, we have some carbon fiber decor here now, just, around the dashboard. And then there's also the mighty new cup holders, but we'll take another perspective to check out that new middle console. Instruments, you can see here either analog or digital. You can check out both, or then, of course, have some more functions right there, and also the energy consumption figure, for example, right here. So, like this. And the steering wheel itself, by the way, you can put that up and down, but not in reach. So that's a little bit limiting then. And then in the lower middle console, there's this new cover for the cup holders. You can slide it open. Then you have this typical Mercedes cup holder. We also know it from the C-Class, for example. And you can either use it for bottles, or you can also use it as a smartphone storage right there already. But it's good because so far everything was flying all around the place. And then here in the very front, there's this new USB hub right there with 2 USB supplies. an aux in, and this will also serve then for the smartphone connection with the Apple CarPlay. That's definitely very helpful. Well, and what's new? Apple CarPlay or Android Auto on this 8-inch touchscreen. So you plug it in with the cable, and this is a demonstration of how it's going to be looking like, because the final version is not live yet, but that's how the integration of Apple CarPlay will look like. The normal GPS so far available in the media system will not be available anymore. You will just navigate then via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And well, the only thing, the advantage of the so far GPS was that you don't use any data from your smartphone. Well, it might be critical if you have, not a very good or sophisticated contract or something. For all others, it will be better that way, definitely, because the GPS so far was not of the best quality software-wise. So, of course, the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto maps are way better for the navigation overall. And seating position, by the way, well, there are, of course, more comfortable cars out there. And the fabric seats are also more comfortable because they're a little bit softer as for the surface. So always go for those, also just for practical reasons. But other than that, tall people have no problem with that, and they're also close to roof now, just to show you the headroom. There's not much difference than Coupe and Convertible, and there's still enough headroom here with 1.86 m or 6'1". Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Smart EQ fortwo or Smart fortwo EQ, whatever, convertible. And we start here quite unusually on the motorway, because I want to tell you something about that. First of all, road noise and so on, not the best in this car. So it's definitely getting quite loud on the motorway. That's how it is, not primarily meant to be that way. But it is quite stable on the motorway, actually, because the suspension is quite stiff. So that's not a problem. But what is a problem? That you are being ignored and bullied all the time. And that's really a pity, and experience that in different countries. So people are not letting you in when you change the lane or something. They're really, driving very close to your back of the car. And that's really a pity that this, it's a little bit like survival of the fittest on the motorway. And that's, that shouldn't be the case, should it? So just can, shout out, please, more respect for drivers of small cars. So not everyone, has like a super huge SUV or something. So that's definitely a pity. But besides that, you can also drive on the motorway, yes. Again, the higher in speed you go, the less you'll have a good noise insulation. So that's the thing you have to bear in mind. Then when you get to some traffic situations, of course, this is where the car is more at home once again, because then you can sneak in here and there and something, even if some people tend to, or try to ignore you, then you may be a little bit faster. When you, by the way, keep it cruise control and like 70, 80 kilometers an hour, it shows me at the moment 130 kilometers of range. That would be actually quite decent with consumption of, here at the moment, 11 kilowatt hours and 100 kilometers. But that's not really realistic when you're driving it in the city, which is like, the normal use case. And that would always be like more 110 kilometers or 70 miles of range. And again, when some people now say like, that's not enough, well, yes and no, because it is enough when you just use it in the city, and when you just recharge it overnight and so on, then it won't be a problem. When you have longer motorway hauls, then it's not, the proper car for you anyway. But so we will do like the engage very soon, and I just hit the throttle, and let's see how that goes. The official figure, it's about 12 seconds to 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, but that's not the point of this vehicle. It's more like 0 to like 50 kilometers or something, or like 0 to 30 miles. That's where this car is really fast, because hardly any weight, and still with the electric drive, 80 horsepower, that's more than enough. And you will see when I really hit the throttle now, it's really very, very effective. Let's go. plop, and that's already 55. And see, everyone behind us is gone. So that's more like Porsche-like acceleration, 0 to 50 kilometers an hour. That works pretty good. So, and that's also really fun when driving it in the city. You can almost drive it like a small motorcycle or something, from the traffic light to the next traffic light and so on. This is usually in the normal driving mode. You also have this eco driving mode, and what this does is that when you lift the throttle, there's more recuperation, because when you are in the normal driving mode and you lift the throttle, the car is rather rolling, which would be more efficient overall when you try to roll as long as possible. So rolling is more efficient than recuperating all the time, unless you really want to reduce speed. Then of course recuperation is better, and you can do that either with hitting the brakes. Then first of all recuperation is being done. Then if you need some more, then also the rear brakes are being used. Or when you are in this eco mode, then there's more recuperation. So when I leave the throttle now, the speed is being reduced a little bit more than when we would just go in a normal mode. And now to our conclusion for today. And two very important rules here, Thomas car rules, are A, there is no food inside the car, and when you have a car that is available as coupe and convertible, you have to buy the convertible. Well, that also counts for the Smart EQ fortwo. So I would always go for the convertible because it just delivers you this open top feeling. But now, what were the central questions for today? First of all, driving the all-electric version. It was there before, yes, now only electric, and it is a pity for those who have to go a little bit longer as for the whole commuting ways, and for everyone who doesn't have the infrastructure yet for charging. That's a pity indeed. But the driving experience is definitely better with the electric version. It's just more fun to drive. It's more silent, yet more powerful. It's really cool. And if you have the fitting infrastructure, it's the best thing you can do, actually. Well, they haven't changed the battery size or something, but we could score a better fuel economy, energy economy today. It might be in the good weather conditions, for example, here in Valencia today. So that might have been one of the reasons. It doesn't have a big battery, doesn't have high range or something, but it is all about the infrastructure again. And if you use it primarily in the city where it's meant to be driven, then it's also no problem if the range is not that high. Well, exterior-wise, they did some tweaks here and there. I think it looks a little bit sportier than before, maybe as a base version now, as it looked before with the AMG, or with this, so was where the Bravos, like Smart was with Bravos, yeah, like before with the Bravos package. Yeah, AMG, Bravos, yeah, there was quite some competition in the past, but now, meanwhile, Bravos still independent, and AMG, of course, belonging to Mercedes for a couple of while now. Then on the interior, not so much has changed there. New infotainment system, which we could see in the demonstration. And, those cup holders, just minor changes, but those cup holders are actually quite good, especially also the place where you can now put your smartphone in. That's a little bit better than before, because so far it was flying all over the place. So they haven't invested too much in this facelift. The tweaks that they have done are actually quite nice, and I hope you also enjoyed this episode here today. Please leave us your comments and see you next time.